What is up guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Nouman and today's analysis video is going to be about the Premier League game between Chelsea and Tottenham. So today's video is sponsored by Jerseys FC. You can buy all the new football jerseys from their website, and you can also use the code ANALYZE for an extra 20% discount. So Chelsea lined up in their normal 3-4-3 formation, which was mostly 3-5 on the ground with possession and 5-3 without possession. While Tottenham, on the other hand, lined up in a 4-3-1 formation, which was mostly 4-4 on the ground. The start from Chelsea was really good, and they looked very dominant throughout the first half. So this is how the two teams were lined up on the ground whenever Chelsea tried to build their play from the back. Without possession, Tottenham mostly had a 4-4 formation with Ndombele and Bergwijn covering Kovacic and Jorginho. Son and Vinicius were pressing the two Chelsea centre-backs, who were mostly Rudiger and Thiago Silva. Azpilicueta was operating more like a defensive fullback, and Tottenham actually tried to create a strong central overload to stop Chelsea's build-up through the middle. But since Hojbjerg and Sissoko were covering Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi, so whenever Mason Mount and Hudson-Odoi joined the front line, Sissoko and Hojbjerg often dropped in the defense to protect their centre-backs. This created a big gap in between the lines for Chelsea to exploit, and that gap was mostly exploited by Azpilicueta, who was often able to drift in the midfield with possession. And Ndombele is covering Jorginho, and Bergwijn is covering Kovacic, with Son and Vinicius pressing Thiago Silva and Rudiger. Azpilicueta is almost at the touchline, and he is operating more like a defensive fullback, who is now totally free to attack the space. Sissoko and Hojbjerg are almost a part of Tottenham's defensive line, and that has opened so much space in between the lines for Azpilicueta to exploit. The front four of Tottenham are easily taken out, and Azpilicueta now has so much space and time on the ball to easily choose the next passing option. You don't normally see this from a team managed by Jose Mourinho. Tottenham's midfield is non-existent. Tottenham were playing with two flat lines with no midfield at all. Sissoko and Hojbjerg were dropping in the defense to cover Hudson-Odoi and Mason Mount, and thus there was no one in between the lines, and Chelsea had acres of space to exploit. Big spaces in between the lines, and there is no one to cover the Chelsea players who have positioned themselves in between the lines, and this was a constant theme in the first half. Again, too easy for Chelsea to build their play and exploit the big spaces in between the lines. Since Chelsea were able to use Azpilicueta to easily build their play from the back, so as the game progressed, Mourinho asked Son to keep a close eye on Azpilicueta. Son started to keep track of Azpilicueta's run, but Chelsea were still able to find ways to build their play. Timo Werner started dropping in between the lines, and he was getting the attention of Sissoko, while Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi tried to create a 2v1 position against Hojbjerg to easily receive the ball directly from their centre-backs. Timo Werner drops deep, and he gets the attention of Sissoko. Hojbjerg is covering Mason Mount, and Son is now staying close to Azpilicueta. Sissoko was busy attending Timo Werner, who has dropped deep, and Hojbjerg was covering Mason Mount. So Hudson-Odoi drops in the midfield to create a 2v1 position against Hojbjerg and to receive the ball directly from his centre-back. Callum Hudson-Odoi drops deep to receive the ball from Thiago Silva, and as he drops deep, he pulls Eric Dier out of his line to open the space in the defense. Hudson-Odoi's one-touch pass to Jorginho, who plays a first-time pass in the space to Mason Mount. Here again, Sissoko is covering Timo Werner, and Hojbjerg is busy covering Mason Mount. So Hudson-Odoi once again drops deep to receive the ball directly from Thiago Silva. Again, Sissoko is busy covering Timo Werner, and Hojbjerg is again left in a 1v2 position against Mason Mount and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Since Son was busy covering Azpilicueta, so Son hardly ever dropped in the defense to help Ben Davies, and that often left Davies in a 1v2 position against Hudson-Odoi and Reece James. Since Ben Davies was often left in a 1v2 position, so Dier often stepped out to cover Hudson-Odoi and to help Ben Davies against the overload. Ben Davies steps out to cover Reece James, and Eric Dier is covering Hudson-Odoi to help Ben Davies against the overload. Callum Hudson-Odoi could see Eric Dier following his run, So Hudson-Odoi makes a run to the wide area and he takes away Eric Dyer to open the space in the central area for Azpilicueta to directly play the ball to Mason Mount. One more thing that created lots of issues for Tottenham in this game was Chelsea's well-organized, man-oriented high press. Chelsea's man-oriented high press with a high defensive line to keep the high press compact. And Chelsea had a clear aerial advantage against Tottenham's front line, so Chelsea were easily able to win the aerial duels and win back possession. Marcos Alonso wins the aerial duel and he heads the ball in the path of Kovacic, and Chelsea win possession in Tottenham's half. Again, man-oriented high press and blocking all the nearby passing options to force the centre-back to go long. This time Rudiger wins the first ball and Jorginho easily wins the second ball. Chelsea were very dominant in the air and they won 19 aerial duels compared to Tottenham's 13. Despite creating some very good chances, Chelsea could not score more than one goal, and that gave Tottenham the chance to stay in the game until the very last minute. Tottenham came out really strong in the second half, and it was mainly the high intensity of their play that created issues for Chelsea. Eric Lamela and Lucas Moura were the players who gave real issues to Chelsea's defense. In the second half, Tottenham allowed their fullbacks to move up, with Lamela and Son occupying the half spaces. The fullbacks were forcing the Chelsea wingbacks out of their positions, and the inside forwards were forcing the Chelsea centre-backs out of their positions to open the gaps in Chelsea's defense for the attacking midfielders. But Chelsea did a very good job of defending in the second half, and despite some nervy moments, they were able to hold on to their one-goal lead. Thomas Tuchel is the first Chelsea manager since Mourinho to have 3 clean sheets in his first 3 games in charge at Chelsea. And Chelsea have finally managed to win back-to-back games for the first time since November 2020. Chelsea are definitely looking good, but they still need to improve their performance in the final third. Thank you so much guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.